Have you tried meditating in the past and you found that you just couldn't quiet your mind? You just couldn't concentrate and focus. You just kept having thought after thought. And you probably told yourself that, oh, I'm just bad at meditating. It is not for me. Well, I'm here to tell you the truth. There's actually no such thing. It's impossible to be bad at meditating. And having thoughts is actually an important part of the entire process of meditating. Most people think meditating is about completely clearing your mind and having no thoughts. This is a very common misconception about meditating, and having thoughts is a very integral part of meditating. So let me explain to you why. Meditation is not about clearing your mind. Our minds are designed to survive and they will continue to think. Thoughts are okay. Thoughts will come and go. Meditation is about tapping into consciousness. And if you're not into spirituality, that's totally fine. But if you are open to it, you will find what all the spiritual teachers all really come to the same realization is that our true self is consciousness. It's the one that is aware, the one that just observes. But if you're not into spirituality, it's totally fine because you'll still get all the amazing benefits of meditation. Now, regardless on your perspective about spirituality, we can all agree on one thing, that you have the ability to direct your awareness, right? Try it. Just put your attention on your right hand. Can you feel the sensations on your right hand? Maybe you feel some tingling. Maybe you feel some heat. Can you feel your fingers? Of course, you can. And just a few seconds ago, you weren't thinking about the sensations, right? The sensations were always there, but they weren't in your awareness. They weren't into your consciousness. So you just directed your awareness to your right hand. Now, meditation is all about having the ability, the control to direct your awareness. And how beneficial would your life be if you had more control of where you direct your attention, right? Most of us nowadays, we're not in control of our attention. A lot of times our devices, social media, outside stimuli, they're all reaching, trying to pull for our attention, and most of us get sucked in. How beneficial would it be if you had this power to choose which things you want your attention to go towards? Wouldn't you rather put your attention to more positive, empowering things, to something that's more going to give you more love, more joy, more feeling of compassion? Because most of our thoughts, our mind being a survival machine, a lot of our thoughts come from a place of insecurity, from lack of what we don't have, and always feeling like we need to strive for more because of the feeling of we don't have enough. And oftentimes this leads us feeling anxious, worried, angry, frustrated. So what if you had the superpower to pull your attention away from those negative thoughts, those thoughts that aren't serving you, and instead let go of those thoughts and instead put your attention towards more empowering and positive ones? How much would your life change? How much better would you feel? And this is exactly what the practice of meditation will give you. It will give you that power to be able to direct your awareness. And as Tony Robbins, famous people say, where attention goes, energy flows. Where you direct your attention is going to be the most important thing that you do on a moment-to-moment basis. Meditation is all about noticing your thoughts. Imagine this. Imagine you're sitting by a river, watching the river flow, and there's leaves floating through the river. The leaves are like your thoughts. Thoughts come by through the river, and you don't need to go and grab every single leaf. You don't need to get pulled by the leaf, because when you get pulled by the leaf, you get sucked into the river. You get lost into these thoughts. Now, this is easier said than done, because a lot of times our thoughts, they can be very compelling. They seem like they're very important, and especially because our minds, our mind or the ego, the same thing, our egos really do not like to lose control. So if you stop giving it attention, it's going to get creative. It's going to try harder and harder to try to grab your attention because the ego wants to stay in control. And oftentimes it's going to, our ego is rooted in fear. Really, that's what our mind and our ego is really rooted in, fear and survival. And this is how we've evolved in order to get to where we are. We had to. And there's nothing, inherently wrong with it. But if you don't have control over your attention, then your mind is just going to control you. Whereas instead, you can be the one that is aware, and you can use your mind as a tool, because it is just a tool. It is a beautiful tool that is capable of many things. But if you don't have control over your awareness, instead of just watching the thoughts go by in the river, you're going to get sucked in and pulled by it. Whereas instead, through the practice of meditation, you can just watch the leaves, the thoughts in the river just float by. You see one thought, it passes. You see another thought, it passes. You don't have to go and get sucked in every time. Now, sometimes maybe you do. Maybe sometimes you want to actually, go with the thought. Maybe it's a positive thought. Maybe it's a loving, compassionate thought, or a joyful thought, or a creative, exciting thought. And then you can intentionally decide, okay, I want to explore this thought. But most of us don't live that way. Most of us are getting sucked in by our thoughts without having any intention or control over them. And you're not always going to be able to just watch your thoughts. We will get sucked in. This is just, it's until you reach, enlightenment Buddha level, you're going to get sucked in by your thoughts, right? Because this is just, we've been conditioned to be this way for so long. But with the practice of meditation, you will have more and more of the ability, the power to be able to pull yourself out of the river and go back to just sitting by the river and just watching your thoughts and being the observer. That is what meditation is all about. It's about pulling yourself out. And in fact, that is the magic moment of meditation. So when you're meditating, for example, if you're sitting and, common meditation is just following your breath. Maybe close your eyes, you feel your breath. And pretty soon, thoughts are going to come by, and the thoughts are going to try to pull you in. And most of the time, they're going to succeed because, we're human. And, if you're a beginner in meditation, it's to be expected that you will get sucked in by your thoughts because you're a beginner. You're just practicing meditation. And the whole magic of meditation is that moment when you catch yourself and realize, oh crap, I've been getting sucked in by my thoughts, and you pull yourself out and you come back to the observer and you come back to intentionally redirecting your attention to the present moment. And that can be with the breath. Why the breath? Because the breath is always there. The breath is always in the present moment, and it's something we can always go back to in order to come back to the present moment. And anytime you're in the present moment, you are in control of your awareness because it takes intentional effort and awareness to come into the present moment. For me, meditation has really been a key part in me overcoming my social anxiety and having more confidence. In the past, when I had a lot of social anxiety, maybe I'll go and meet someone and I'll have a conversation and the conversation ends, but of course the conversation in my mind doesn't end. My mind might start saying things might replay the whole conversation and say, oh, why did I say that? Maybe that person thinks I'm stupid. What does he think of me? Was I being awkward? And it'll go on and on and on. And until finally I started meditating, everything changed. Because after I started meditating, I would still have those thoughts come up, right? The thoughts can still come up. But now, after meditating, I'm just able to let go of those thoughts. Maybe I have the first thought of thinking about what the person thinks of me, but immediately I can catch myself because I have this practice of meditation. I catch myself and I just let go of the thought. And then I don't need to go down that whole stream of anxious thoughts. And I can just come back to the present moment, whatever I'm doing, or just go to more positive thoughts, whatever I want. And fast forward to today, how I still use meditation. I'm visiting my parents in New York. So I'm living with my parents and my brother. And there's a famous spiritual teacher named Ram Dass. And he has a really good quote that says, if you think you're so enlightened, go and spend a week with your parents. And I think it's so true because, with our family, we often have so much history, so much preconditioned, patterns that we have. And it's very easy to go back to those patterns. So, for example, maybe I'm home and sometimes the smallest things that someone does in my house would bother, I would notice myself getting bothered by it. Because it's not the actual thing that bothers me. It's all the preconditioned stuff. It's all the history. It's all the stories that I have about the person, right? It's all of those history and stories. It's nothing about the small thing that they did, right? You could probably relate to that when maybe you have a spouse or a sibling, someone that you spend a lot of time with. They might start doing the smallest things might start annoying you. And it's never the actual thing that's annoying you. It's them doing it because you have this whole, history and story of the past of why they're doing the thing that they're doing. So when I'm home, my entire practice now is about just letting go of any of those parts of me. Because anytime I get annoyed or bothered or frustrated or want to blame somebody or anything, those are all, I always know that's all part of my ego. Those are all the lower parts of my being. And my entire spiritual journey is about letting go of those parts. And the more you let them go, in order to let them go, first you need to be aware of them. If you're just sucked in by the thought, you're going to be allowing that thought to continue to go and to continue to be rooted in you. So the better I get in meditation, the better I'm able to just let go of those thoughts. And it's still it can still be a challenge. Sometimes I would have those kind of thoughts for a few minutes, and it'll take a few minutes for me to catch myself. And then when I catch myself, I would let go. But the more I've been meditating, the more I've gotten better at just as soon as the thought comes up, I can just be aware of it and boom, just let it go. So instead of just going through that whole cycle, that whole stream of negative thoughts, I can just let it go right at the root. And the more you do that, you'll actually find that these thought patterns and conditioning actually becomes weaker and weaker. Because when you could just let go of the ego, the mind, the ego, which is derived from the past, you can just fully accept the present moment as it is. And with acceptance of the present moment comes more love, comes more compassion, comes more joy. This is the true essence of who we really are, the consciousness. And the consciousness is just a state of love, of joy, of peace. And that only comes when you just be in the present moment and accept the present moment. So hopefully by now you see why meditation is so powerful. Just having that ability to direct your awareness will completely change your life. Where focus goes, energy flows. Where our attention goes is just really the most important thing that we choose on a moment-to-moment basis. And meditation will empower you to have that ability to direct your awareness. So let's get practical. How do you actually meditate? It's really simple. Meditation, mindfulness is all about coming back to the present moment, directing your awareness to the present moment. And one of the best ways to do that is with the breath, because the breath is always there. The breath is always happening in the present moment. So anytime we want to tap back into the present moment and shift our awareness, we just come back to the breath because it's always there. You can also just feel your body, feel sensations in your body, maybe do a body scan. But to get practical, let's just say that you're just starting with meditation. The easiest way would be a sitting meditation with your eyes closed. You can actually meditate without your eyes closed. Most of my meditation nowadays actually comes throughout my day, as I'm walking, as I'm, doing things while I'm working, while I'm about to talk to people, just staying present and conscious. But let's say you're just starting with meditation. You're probably not going to start with there. You probably want to do a seated meditation. So to put it very simply, to practice it, you can sit down with your eyes closed, and maybe you put a timer to start. Maybe you do 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever you want. Again, remember, it's a practice. There's nowhere you're trying to get to during the meditation. You're just practicing. And so let's say you set a timer for 2 minutes. You close your eyes and you come to the present moment. So you can use the breath to come to the present moment. You can scan your body. Maybe you think about the sensations on your head. Then you go down all the way through your body, all the way through to your feet. Whatever brings you to the present moment. I would say the easiest way is just following your breath. And as you do this, inevitably, you will get distracted. Your thoughts will come up, and more likely than not, if you're a beginner in meditation, the thoughts are going to pull you. Even if you're an expert at meditation, the thoughts will still pull you until you reach some, Buddha level, enlightened level. Your thoughts are still going to pull you. So expect it. Expect that your thoughts will pull you. So maybe, let's say you're doing it for 2 minutes. Maybe almost the entire time you're getting pulled by thoughts. Maybe the first, the minute and a half, you're pulled by thoughts. You're thinking about what you're going to eat, all the work you have to do, yada, yada. Thoughts will pull you. But then maybe for a moment, maybe after a minute and a half, maybe you catch yourself and you pull yourself back to the present moment. Boom, congratulations. That is the magic of meditation. Think of every time you pull your attention back to the present moment and you direct your awareness consciously. Think of that as a meditation pull-up. You are gaining the muscle. Every time you do that, you pull your attention, you are gaining the muscle of being able to direct your awareness. That is the entire practice of meditation, is having more of that muscle of directing your awareness. So maybe you do meditation for 10 minutes, sitting down. Maybe for the entire first 9.5 minutes, you're having thoughts. But just for a second, towards the end, you catch yourself and you pull yourself back. Boom, congratulations, you just did meditation. This is why we say meditation is a practice. You're not just doing it and You're done. Just like you don't just go to the gym once and you're done, right? You need to keep practicing. You need to keep getting stronger. And every time you're sitting down for meditation, you can think of it as a gym for your awareness, for your consciousness, making your consciousness and awareness more stronger, more intentional. So the next time, the more and more you do that, maybe throughout your day, maybe something stressful happens. Whereas in the past, maybe you ruminate, you have really stressful thoughts for 30 minutes. But when you start meditating after 25 minutes, you catch yourself and you let go of the thoughts. So you just saved yourself 5 minutes. And the more and more you meditate, eventually you get to the point where as soon as that thought comes up, you just let it go. So you just saved yourself 30 minutes of time and 30 minutes of all those stressful emotions that are gonna come up, which inevitably are gonna lead to more stressful behaviors. So really just remember, it is a practice, and the more you practice, the better you're going to get at being able to direct your awareness. And as you're observing, your breath, and maybe you're observing thoughts, you might get pulled into thoughts, and then you might start judging yourself. And you just want to observe that. Again, the whole part of meditation and mindfulness is observation, observing without judgment. But inevitably, our mind might judge. And you might think to yourself, why can't I do this? Why can't I sit still? Why does my mind keep talking? And then you might judge yourself. And then you'd be like, oh, why am I judging myself? And again, you want to, as much as you can, try to let go of the judgment and just observe. The judgments will come. The thoughts will come. Have that expectation that they will come. And you just want to, as gently as you can, let go of them, observe, and gently come back to the present moment. So with meditation, there is no perfection. Really, you have to be more compassionate to yourself when you're starting with meditation, and just know that you will get pulled by thoughts, and that's okay. That is part of the journey. That is the practice. But the better you get at it, the better you'll get at redirecting your awareness back into the present moment. So please try it. Maybe after this video, you want to try it for 1 or 2 minutes. Ideally, you can make it as a daily practice, as a habit, because then the more you do it, the stronger that muscle of being able to direct your attention will get. And yeah, if you have any questions, or if you want to share your experience, you can please leave a comment. I'll be happy to help you on your journey. All right, thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace and love. Ciao.